And Professor Akimoto, when we think about what were the policy changes and technological interventions that have been implemented in East Asia from 2010 onwards, which has resulted in the decrease of emissions levels of SO2 and NOx, could you also share a little bit more from your own personal experience around how EANET has contributed to policymaking in the region? Any reflections that come to mind, we would love to hear a little bit more from you. So over to you, Professor.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, the question is a little bit difficult. Why the EANET countries has been succeeded in precursor controlling after 2010? Well, I would say the EANET has not directly contribute to that kind of emission control, because EANET has made any suggestion to any country's government which species or how much of the species at where they should be controlled, because EANET is not under the legally binding international agreement. So we have been avoided for making any such official suggestion. But indirectly, I believe the EANET has contributed substantially to this kind of improvement of the air quality in this area. That's, I think, I would say it's through by means of so-called capacity building. You know, the capacity building is a very favorite word in EANET. None of the country oppose to that kind of activities, but the capacity building is, at least I think there are different kinds, different levels. Usually people talks about the capacity building for technicians or technical capacity buildings. That's very easily understood. Every technical person has to learn the most advanced technology or methodology of the wet or dry deposition monitoring. But the second capacity building is for administrative officers, environmental officers. That's been done through some training of the some knowledge of the experience, I would say the European countries, North American countries, and some developed countries has a lot of experience of how the emission reduction of SO2 and NOx or other air pollutants has a very influential impact on the control of the acid deposition and other air pollutants. That's a kind of policy of the advanced countries has been supported by so-called science and policy background. And those and the capacity building or training for environmental officers in EANET countries has been given. That kind of historical lectures, how the developed countries being successful for controlling precursors of acid deposition and so on. Those kind of information is very important because it's even if it's not directly science and policy linkage in this area, but it's supported by science and policies links in some Europe or North America. So the policymakers can learn a lot from the past experience. That's, I believe EANET has contributed toward that kind of direction. That's been very important, has been important. And the third capacity building is for scientists. That's most important, but most difficult, because we have to send good graduate students to some one of the best supervisors laboratory in some any countries, and has to spend a few years, 3 or 4 years, to learn the very spirit of the real science, and coming back, and he or she has to be employed in a good research institution. That's the only way that the scientists' capacity building could be achieved. But I think that's beyond the EANET. EANET only cannot prepare that kind of infrastructure. But anyway, I think in the next phase of the EANET, it's expanded toward the acid deposition, toward the some air quality or climate, and that at this stage, I think the training or capacity building for the administrative officers I think, would be more and more important. In that way, the EANET can contribute to the better air quality.